What's up, everybody? Coming to you live from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, and Amy in Toronto, Canada,
Toronto.
and our friends from Texas, Ryan and Sunny. Everybody, welcome. Thanks for hopping on with us.
Austin, Texas.
Austin,
Austin.
Texas, in the house.
The best part of Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't just say Texas.
Yeah.
So the concept today we're working on, or the conversation we wanted to have, is all around Real's private label program. And we created a fun little graphic for it, which was from Indy to Real. And I had my girl scratch it out and said, still Indy with Real. So guys, I think private label was something, Ryan, you can kind of talk to this because you and I and Amy had connected 18 months ago or whatever. You were curious about the economic model that Real had provided, but there were some complications for you, which I think other brokerage owners are going to align with, which is we've built, I mean, dude, Spyglass Realty is on the Mount Rushmore of not just brokerages, but companies in Austin, Texas. So for you guys, it was like, we built this, we can't just walk from it. And I think private label brought a solution for you, but maybe talk about some of the 18 months ago, looking at Real, what you thought was attractive and what you thought the obstacles were.
Sure. I think for us, Sonny and I, Sonny's been with the company for, I don't know, almost 13 years or 13 years now. And when it was pretty much just her and I when it started, and it's been blood, sweat, and tears in building the business and building the brand. And we did not want to lose that. We're real proud of what we've built, and not just that we're proud of it. It's a name that locally I think is definitely recognizable, and we didn't want to lose that identity. And we thought so. I guess when we first talked to Real and others, right, that this was not something that was widely available. And we just did not want to do it, and we weren't going to do it. I mean, we wouldn't be here now if this wasn't available. And so the way we look at it is, we're able to plug into the ecosystem that Real provides and gives. Our goal has always been to provide agents, the agents that work for us, with the most opportunities and the least reasons to go anywhere else. And so when it came to putting all this together, our thoughts were, we wanted to make sure that we could have everything everybody else had, but still be us. And so with this ecosystem, we're still who we are. And really, the agents haven't really seen that much of a change at all. Like, with us, we're not powered by Real. We have chosen so far not to really co-brand with Real. It's not to say that we'll never do it, or we just wanted a very seamless transition. And we're not embarrassed to say we're proud to be part of the Real network, but we're Spyglass Realty. That's our identity,
and I think
that's what we're proud of.
The best of both. Yeah. It's the best of all worlds, really. I mean, that's what it is. Private label.
Well, I think there's people for whom the branding is like, I'm going to switch from a hot air balloon to Real's marketing and advertising. And they're like, that's awesome. But I think there are these companies that, like, if you like, my nephew's in Austin, he works for a property acquisition company. And I was like, hey, I'm coming out to Austin. And, oh, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, well, a buddy of mine's bringing his brokerage over with us. And he's like, what company? I was like, Spyglass. He's like, you know those guys? Like, Austin is just like, I mean, Spyglass is a national name, but in Austin, I mean, it's top 100 places to work and all this stuff. And so there are other people, though, that have built
I would just say it's top brand. One, according to a couple different sources.
number one. Yeah. So then
I will say that, like, we should just give props to Sunny and Ryan, because, like, when we were there and we were working with your agents on the brokerage transition and the announcement, man, oh man, you have a stacked lineup of awards. Like, you guys have
100%.
You guys have crushed the last few years.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, so what you said, Joe, I just make a point here because I remember hearing Chris Lindahl speak sometime 2 years ago, and one of the points he made, or actually he might have, maybe this was on my podcast. That's what it was. So what he said was, when it comes to a brand and when it comes to agents, that, and this is very relevant to our situation as well, that if you're an agent and you are like, you have a team that's small, okay, and you're trying to promote yourself over the brand that's recognizable, then you're going against the flow, okay? And what that means is, like, if I have an agent that wanted to put, the Davis team or the Smith team at Spyglass Realty, and they want that to be the biggest thing, and then have Spyglass Realty the smallest thing, that doesn't make sense in Austin. And so as of right now, that's the same thing with Real, right? Real is a growing brand, okay? And one of the reasons we this is one of the many reasons that we looked at Real, is because they did not have as big a presence in Austin. Like, in San Antonio, they have a major market share, and we saw that as an advantage. So that's another kind of point of why some people might want to do private label, because in our neighborhood, in our backyard, Spyglass Realty is a bigger brand than Real.
And I'll say, just kind of to speak to how, why we feel this way and maybe why it's been successful to have such a unique brand, is Austin is kind of a unique and local place. It's like the biggest small town in America. We like our local, we like our, natively sourced things, as everything from restaurants to, stores. And there's just a lot of local here. You don't see as much chain or big box of anything. And I've seen here independent brokerages thriving and grow more than a lot of other big metros in the country. So that was something that we knew here. I mean, people are at Spyglass because they liked that we were independent, and they liked that we weren't a part of a big brand.
Yeah.
And we still want to be able to provide that feeling and culture for everybody. But this also gives us the opportunity to grow in other places where that aren't like Austin, that are a little bit different, and where, associating with Real could really help us with leverage.
So now you're able to maintain that connectivity, that culture, that vibe that you've worked so hard to build over the years, but to give the value to your agents of being a part of a larger ecosystem that has deeper pockets for technology and is publicly traded and has additional income streams and opportunities that you may not have been able to do as an independent brokerage, but they get the best of both worlds.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I think here it's the power of and. So, like, we were there when you introduced us to your agents, Ryan and Sonny, and there was no ors, and there was no instead ofs. There was only an and. And so by that, I mean, we are Spyglass, we will be Spyglass, and we now have these increased economic opportunities. We're able to grow outside. You were already outside of Austin, but you're able to grow outside of Texas. If somebody's family has a team in Georgia, there's now some affiliation opportunities. So Ryan, talk a little bit about what attracted you as an independent brokerage owner to looking at Real and being able to provide those opportunities to your agents. That, I mean, you and I have both owned independent brokerages. There's a lot of beauty in it, but there also are some restrictions that can make it tough to get beyond the here's a commission check, here's an award, here's a pat on the back. Delineating ownership, sharing revenue, things like that are a challenge for independent brokers. Maybe that and other things you saw. Yeah,
I think Sonny and I were looking at any option we could, right? And we always have been, like, and when it came to looking at the different models that are out there, and we talked about partnering with someone that wasn't even maybe not in real estate, venture capital, whatever, right? And looked at lots of different things, and because what our goal was, growth, with retainment and growth, like that's the main thing. And when we looked at what the opportunities that could be provided to the agents in terms of, wealth building, stock, things along those lines, and Joe, you had, when we talked initially, not initially, but recently in November or whatever it was, you made a really good case for that. I looked at agents want to be able to buy into something, right? That can grow, and Real's trajectory, their stock growth. It would be, and would look at it with like being able to get in at EXP, 6 years ago, right? And but with a different culture, completely different, and so that was real attractive to us. And then there was other things too, gosh, the landscape out there. Sunny just finished her 3-year stint on the board of directors. I just started my 3-year stint on the board of directors, so we're very familiar with what's going on in the industry right now. And it's we're not out of the woods when it comes to litigation.
Right.
Attorneys are bloodthirsty creatures, and I was raised by one, so he's not one.
Well, so then let's talk about that. So you had the economic opportunities for your agents. So as an independent brokerage, and guys, anyone listening to this, I would encourage you to consider this. Ryan and Sonny and Johnny were able to keep the brand that is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
They kept their brick and mortar location. They kept their agents' pride in working with Spyglass. The economic model for your agents, as far as costs and fees and things like that, nothing changed.
Yeah.
And for the agents, there's now a delineation of revenue, where before you had the ownership and leadership group at Spyglass, and then you had agents. Now you went from that to 100+ partners that are all working under the same umbrella. You have delineation of ownership, where your agents are able to earn stock and things like that. So that's now in the hands of the agents. But then you also had some of the alleviation of liability that you guys had, that Ryan, as an owner and as a broker, you're looking at all these, buyer agent compensation conversations and liability around things like that you're able to now maintain your brand, maintain and add to your economics, delineate revenue, share revenue with your agents, share ownership with your agents, as well as offloading liability. It sounds, let me play devil's advocate. It just sounds too good to be true.
Well, and what I think it is, and I think when you look at different models, if you look at let's say Compass and Keller Williams and Remax or whatever, okay, the difference is, one of the things what I've noticed since being in the short time I've been there is, and somewhat before, is that you're reliant on the company to provide the things that need to be provided, right? And what I mean by that, and not in terms of technology, but I'm talking in terms of culture and training and well, basically culture and training, right? Where if you look at models like Real and even EXP, right, it's not necessarily the company. They have something to do with it, but it's more people like us on this call, right? Like that's where people go to, because I met with a broker just yesterday that's with a legacy company, and it's been around a long time, decades, and it was just not, they weren't getting what they needed from that, right? Whereas here, it's more like, and you said it, I think a long time ago, you used the word ecosystem. It's an ecosystem powered by the people that are in it, the participants, the team leaders, the brokers, right? Rather than the corporations, because corporations can a lot of times let you down. CEOs come and go, whereas and not to say that the Real isn't a corporation, but it's not reliant on just the corporation, right? And we looked at this as not joining a brokerage or corporation, but just using the ecosystem to accelerate and accentuate, that's the right word, to what we're already
It sounds good to me.
yeah, what we're already doing.
So AIM, talk about that a little bit, because I think what Ryan's saying is, well, I know what Ryan's saying is that he's able to have his cake and eat it too, which is a challenge. Like, and this you've been in on these conversations, Amy. You've seen it. Like, it's hard to be able to say, "Hey guys, Ryan and Sonny are going to win, and the agents are going to win, and the company's going to win," because there's almost that point of, well, what's the catch? And so, in your experience, Amy, like, what, if anything, is the catch, or like what's the downside? Like, what I guess what's keeping more independent brokers from looking at this?
Well, I can answer that. Okay. And it depends on how it's done. Okay. For the catch for us, and the only reason we have a catch at all is because we wanted to make sure that when our agents came over, that every single fee and every single split is as it was when they left. We wanted zero interruption. So
right.
So what that means is that we're paying some of the fees and some of the caps, right, for them. And that was a decision we made because we knew that the ultimate goal is, but those are minimal fees when you look at it on a grand scheme of things, right? But we wanted to do that because we knew that the growth opportunity was there. I mean, we've been with Real a month, and we have how many agents? 3 that have come back so far, or is it 2? You know, 3 that had left, and now they're back. So, and like, these are people that we didn't even reach out to. We didn't go back and say, hey, and that's not including the people we're already recruiting as well. I mean, I think we've got, I don't know, maybe 7, 10 in the last month.
Mm-hmm. And so,
I will say, Sonny.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you understand, like, you understand the emotions of the agents, you understand the desires of the agents, and like, what is it about this type of ecosystem or like that you've seen so far that's resonated with your agents? Because Ryan did a good job of articulating, like, you guys took on some additional costs to do this. Mm-hmm. So then the way that it makes sense is to have growth. And now you guys are seeing that growth. So what changed? Not to say that Spyglass wasn't growing anyways, but what did Real do to add rocket fuel to create that growth?
Well, and I think you mentioned a stat from your brokerage, Joe, of like, there'll be kind of a minority portion of a group this size that really takes advantage of like the economic opportunities that are available as far as like stock purchase plan and, attraction and revenue share and all that. And so for the group that were interested in things like that, this just gave them the things that honestly, as an independent brokerage, we were never going to be able to do. We were never going to be, I mean, we talked through this with you, Joe, like we were never going to be able to offer stock and some things like that. And we could have dreamed up ideas of how to do it, and it probably just would not have been feasible. So just giving the group of people that are interested in stuff like that, all while being able to maintain exactly what people that are not interested in that and want to, just keep on trekking with the way things were, and they liked Spyglass the way it was, and those people can now coexist together. The ones that wanted to grow and move on, and the ones that wanted things to stay the same. And and that provided a space where we can do it. We can kind of do it all. And I think
coexist is such a great line.
Yeah. And I think that, I can speak to like when Ryan 18 months ago was like, hey, I want us to talk to Joe and Amy. And I was probably a little bit more, I put up my stop signs a little harder than he did. I was like, no, we're Indy. This is what we do. This is, we're committed to this, and we're committed to it because of X, Y, and Z. And so we can totally understand the feelings behind independent broker owners that, feel like they will, and all the things that they feel like they'll lose
lose autonomy, lose your brand, lose your culture, like all
but
that.
Really it came down to us. It's like, how do we maintain that? And this is really the way we do it. Like Ryan said, like the landscape of things are changing. There will be less Indy brokerages 10 years from now than there are today. And
well, and I think that is a really good point to touch on, Sunny, because I think like as a business owner, independent brokerage owners have to look at what they're doing and decide what their runway is for. Like, are you planning to be in this business for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? If you are, then you need to start making decisions today that are going to make sure that you're thriving in that time frame, right? If you want to be an independent broker for the next 3 to 5 years and just take a good, finish a run at it, and then whatever happens in the industry. But if you're here for the next 5, 10, 15 plus years, like this is the industry economy where you have to evaluate how am I serving my people at the highest level that they're going to want to stay in business with me long term. And agents are so much wiser today. They know the options that are out there. They know what's available. They know the fees. They know the other income opportunities. The market's way harder now than it's been in like a decade or longer. And they have to work 3 to 4 times as hard for one transaction. They want other income opportunities. They want 4 savings plans with stock portfolios. They want a team. I'm a team leader. Like, I want an income opportunity for running a real estate team, like through revenue share. You're already doing it anyways. Like, why would you not want to help your bottom line or take that revenue and fuel it back into your business, generate more leads, create more exposure for your brand? And now team leaders can do that at Spyglass, and they can and then have that additional income opportunity at Real. And the best part about this model, and I'm sorry, because you guys all know I love Real, but is that everybody has the same opportunity. Like, this opportunity for Ryan and Sunny to bring your independent brokerage is the same equal opportunity for every agent and every team leader if they want it, if they want to run with it, and if they want to take advantage of it. And that's the power of this model.
For sure.
So,
sorry for my soapbox.
No, it's good. So Ryan, there is this world, and I'm very opinionated on this. So guys, take this with a grain of salt. Independent brokers are going to have to either lead their agents into this modern ecosystem, or they're going to see some of their people find it on their own, and it's going to end up costing them. And I don't mean that to be doom and gloom.
You have to decide, where do you want to be in 5, 10, 15 years? Like, you either bring your people to it, or they're going to be gone.
Because we've talked to independent brokers who are kind of like, man, I hope my agents don't find out about these other business models that are out there. Almost like a taxi cab company going like, man, I really hope Bob doesn't learn that he could just go buy a Honda Accord and do it himself with Uber. And it almost feels that way. And I don't mean that in any disrespect to independent brokerage owners. I owned 2 brokerages at one point, but it was like, man, this ecosystem is just so good for the life of the agent that for Indies, it's like, man, are we going to lead our people into this, or are we going to watch them go find it themselves?
Well, especially now that that Real has like put themselves on the map with creating private label. Like, I could understand a year and a half ago or 2 years ago when Ryan and Sunny were like, no, we're going to lose our autonomy if we have to fold our brokerage, fold our culture, and change things like to become like a team at Real. Like, for an existing team leader, this is like a whole other conversation with team leaders or with individual agents.
For sure. It's not as big of
100%. But with an independent brokerage, now that you can maintain your brand, maintain your autonomy, literally nothing changes on your MLS system, on your partnership agreements. Like, you can align with Real and get the best of all worlds while nothing changes. That was literally the message to the Spyglass agents. Nothing's changing.
Yeah. And I'll give you, I'll give you a little bit, another thing that maybe a lot of people hadn't thought about, is that, for me, I want, like, Sonny's been with me for 13 years. Okay. Johnny's been with me for 7, 8 years. Right. And the way that we structured things was that, there were going to be stock awards based on, people coming through. Like, it was a way. And what was so funny is I remember someone sent me a clip. I think it was actually from an EXP, like meeting or something, like someone stage on the EXP, and the guy was like, I wanted to be able to bring my leadership in as owners on something and be able to have them have a piece of this, and I was thinking at that time, when we were investigating all these things, well, that's the same exact thing with Real. I mean, it's Spyglass Realty. There's a couple ways that it could have worked as an independent, right? And don't get me wrong, it could work. I mean, it really could. It's what I mean is a truly non-affiliated independent, right? And that would be, it would have been an amount of work that I just did not, I did not have for my life anymore, right? I mean, it was the kind of work that I was used to doing in my 20s and 30s,
Okay, so since we're having this conversation, I think that is a very, very important thing that most people are not considering. And maybe they are. And maybe it's just like something that I just feel like I just want to say. It's like, you have to make a business decision that is best for you and your people, and where you're at in your life, and how much, like, this industry's tough. Like, let's be honest, it can take its toll on you. And we all know that. We've all been in it for a long time. So are you planning to be in real estate for 5 more years, 10 more years, 20 more years? Like, the whippersnapper luxury real estate agent team leader that I met yesterday, who's 29 years old and is going to be in this business for another 20 years. That conversation was very different than the one we're having when we're talking about being 50 in 2025. Like, that's the thing. Like, you have to make business decisions that are best for your life and where and what your goals are and what you're working towards, but also for your people. And when you combine those two things, and you can get the power of a model like this, where you can have the best of all worlds, where everybody wins, is literally like when Joe says, like, what's the downside risk? Like, it's a home run. It literally is a home run. And I know I'm saying that from being in a seat of like where we're all winning together at Real. But the bottom line is that I understand why it wasn't a home run for you guys 18 months to 24 months ago. I get it. And you never heard any ounce of like pressure or sales pitches or anything from us. It was just like, if this would work for you, great. If not, then that's okay, because then it'll be for somebody else.
Well, that's right. I mean, you guys were, I mean, first of all, we've known each other for 10 something years, right? But your approach to pitching the model is the best I've ever seen, right? And what I mean by that, it's done with class. And so it wasn't you coming to me in the last thing. I mean, we stayed in touch, of course, but when it came to, like, if we're looking at different models, there would have been nobody else, even if, and I do know a few other people in Real, but it's just well done is what I'd say.
And I'll say, just kind of go back to like what Ryan, kind of what you guys talked about, where you are in life. It's Real, the option to partner with Real, I believe, has extended our runway by years, if not decades. In that, like, I mean, I just didn't see where, like Ryan said, we had I'm 45 and I'm sending kids to college next year. And so like, our what we need to do over the next 20 years is not what we could have done 20 years ago. We had, I don't know, there's only kind of like so many endings to an independent brokerage. You get bought, you shut your doors, or you partner, and then your runway turns into kind of infinity, right? And so and I feel like that's kind of what we did.
Well, and I think when
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, when you look at the exit plan, there's not right now, because we got a buyout offer 4 years ago before we came to Real. I mean, that was pre-lawsuits. That was pre-liability issues. I mean, I don't know that there's a ton of groups out there going like, man, let's gobble up all these indies and assume all the liability for their stuff.
Right.
So we've got a few minutes left. And the question I would have for you guys is twofold. Number one, like, how are your agents feeling? Like, how's it going? And number two, what your advice would be to other people that are in your shoes. I've run out of things that I like. My good friend Justin Bieber, never say never, right? Like I've ran out of things that I can say never about. But there are people out there that are like, man, I'm never abandoning this independent brokerage fight. I'm never joining a company like, a revenue share based company. So I guess part one is, how's it going? And then to wrap up, part two, what would your advice be to people who are kind of sitting there going like, I'd love to, I would love for things to change, but there's a little bit of fear.
Well, Sunny, why don't you take the agent question? I'll take the second one.
I think that, they're excited about new opportunities. We thought and planned really hard with the help of Amy and Joe in the launch and how we were going to do it and the timing and all of that. And I will say that, I don't know how it works everywhere, but I really liked the way we launched with our people and the support that we had and the system kind of that we set up. As far as transitioning everybody, we were told to expect attrition, and we kind of didn't have it.
We didn't get any, and hats off. Look, Sunny did so much work, and she's just such an amazing person in every single way. I mean, she goes straight from that, to managing the Realty Hack Summit, which was 2 weeks after. I mean, not straight from. She was doing both of them congruently, and that was just yeah, I mean, it was just amazing.
We won't be doing that much.
Your launch was a masterclass, to be honest. Both Amy and I were like, and I would love for us to take credit, but in reality, Sunny, and you just crushed it yourself. So that went really well. There is this acclimation period, and so like your agents are going to go through this opportunity, and like there's some stuff out there that some of your agents are going to not take advantage of the stock program.
Sure.
And then a year later, they're going to be like, Ryan, why didn't you make me? Yeah, it's hard because I've had people like, why didn't you make me do the stock plan? And I'm like, dude, all I can do is say like, here's a good thing that I think is a good idea. But so you're going to have some growing pains. But I think you guys got complete adoption, and now there's acclimation, which is the next challenge. But Ryan, for you,
we've even gotten another curveball in our acclimation, in that we had a change to our sales contract from the state over the last few weeks. So right about the time we launched, our commission here in Texas launched a new contract and changed all that was commission related. So just after we got used to some changes in August, we got changed up again. But I think that people are feeling really glad that we're still in this, that we're still this group and this community and this company that they've always felt comfortable in during change like that. So it's kind of like being able to have that, comfort.
Some of the things that your agents were excited about that they talked about at the launch, things were like the option of the stock purchase plan, the option of revenue share, the option of going to like a big annual conference and being a part of something bigger, but to still day in and day out have the connectivity and the culture and the brand of what is the award-winning Spyglass, which is
I think the thing that they were most excited about was, there was probably a little bit of doubt, right? Is that was there going to be anything changing? Because we promised that there wasn't, not anything changing that was already going to change, right? Like, I mean, our technology fee went up $35, which is still nothing, right? And but that had nothing to do with we put that out 8 months ago, like, and then a lot of them are just happy. We're really happy that we didn't make a different choice. There's two people here in Austin that that are known for gobbling up or absorbing or whatever. And I had these two different companies. I don't want to trash anybody. Sure. So I'm not going to say the names, but I had so many comments that I'm glad it wasn't this one. I'm glad it wasn't A. I'm glad it wasn't B. I had so many comments on that. I know that if we would have chosen one of those two companies, and I promise you, one of them is not who you think it is. Okay, well, one's not. We wouldn't say one's not a model like Real. Okay,
right.
They just didn't want to be part of that. And so I think that was really the most excitement of everything.
Well, and the lesson,
but then you have a subset, right? You've got like 10 to 15 to maybe 20% that were really excited about the opportunities that Real provides, right? And so when I look at everything, and to get to your question, Joe, about what others should be thinking about when they're making this is
he was gonna say something so great.
At first, I was like,
I lost you there.
Oh
yeah, you're back. I was gonna say you were gonna say something so great. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So when I look at to answer your question about why others should be looking at it, I think you got to look at what we did and look at the results of that, right? In the sense that the proof is in the pudding. We had, I would say, I'll call it 100%. We had 4 agents that one moved to another country and had a license, right? I mean, maybe not even 4, 3, right?
Something like that. 3. A few that are basically like license hold, that were
3, right? I mean,
100% retention.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so when you have to, if you're looking at why you should or why you shouldn't, it's like, talk. I'd be happy to talk to anybody about what exactly happened, right? What exactly happened and what would have happened had we made other choices, because I won't say that on a public forum, but I would happily tell someone on a private one,
Well, and we heard it. And I think kind of in closing, we heard it from your people right when you made the announcement. They were like, I'm just glad you're not going to X, or I'm glad you're not going to Y, or I'm glad you're not going to Z. Like they appreciated that. And I think that's a testament to the due diligence you guys did, the patience you guys had, and then ultimately the execution you guys came through with, because your people were just so relieved that Spyglass is still Spyglass. And I think that's the message to people on private label is, like, if you've built Sunshine Realty in Florida, or you've built Mountaintop Realty in Idaho, like, you can keep what you've built and add all the benefits that Real has. There is no abandonment. There's no do what you've done or run with us. You can run with us and preserve what you built. And I think that's the key. Guys, appreciate you guys. We're glad to have you with us. I think this is just the start of these conversations. You guys are the type of people that this company is built with, which is top of the market. Culture is everything. Leading with kindness, leading with integrity. Massive production. Yeah. Like, we're just so grateful to be with you guys and appreciate this. If anybody at Ryan Roddenbeck, Ryan, what's your Instagram handle?
It's at Ryan Roddenbeck.
Yep, hit up Ryan. Sonny's easy to find. Johnny's easy to find. Spyglass is easy to find. So if you're considering that private label, if you got some questions, you want some confidentiality, hit up Ryan and say, hey man, I'm in Georgia and I'm curious about this. How did it work? Ryan's a great resource, his team. Amy and I are obviously willing to get involved as well. But
And
appreciate you guys.
just thank you to you guys too. Really, that was. I mean, we leaned on you guys pretty hard, and so your availability was ridiculous. So thank you.
You
Okay,
make it
thanks, guys.
easy. Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
I hope you're finding value in the content you've been consuming, and my goal is to earn your subscription. So subscribe down below so that you get notified when we drop new content every single week.